Every morning at exactly 6:30, Liam heard the same soft knock on his front door. It was gentle, polite, and always came 3 times. He would open the door, and there she was again, the same little girl, no more than 7 years old, standing barefoot on his porch. Her small hands clutched a worn stuffed fox, her dark hair tangled, and her pale eyes shining like glass marbles. She always said one word in the same quiet voice: "Daddy." The first time it happened, Liam thought it was a mistake. Maybe a lost child from another street or a cruel prank. But the next morning she came again, and the morning after that, and again for 3 long years. Every day she stood there, same clothes, same age, same word: "Daddy." And every time, before Liam could call the police or even blink, she would vanish into the morning fog. At first, the neighbors didn't believe him. They said Liam worked too much, that he was seeing things. He was an engineer for the Defense Science Bureau, a man who built machines for the military. He was used to long nights, glowing screens, and silence. But this silence was different. It had a heartbeat, a whisper, a presence. Liam installed security cameras all around the house. He wanted to prove she was real. But when he checked the recordings, there was nothing. No girl, no knocking. Only the door opening by itself. He stared at the footage for hours, his mind trying to explain what his eyes saw every morning, but the answers never came. Then one morning it changed. The fog was thicker than usual, the world outside pale and cold. The knock came again, 3 soft taps. He opened the door slowly, his hand trembling. She stood there as always, small and fragile, but this time her eyes glowed faintly blue. "Daddy," she whispered, her voice almost metallic, and before he could speak, she stepped inside for the very first time. The lights in the house flickered. The clock on the wall stopped ticking. A low hum filled the air. Like the vibration of a hidden engine, Liam froze, watching the little girl move carefully across the floor, her bare feet leaving no trace of dirt, no prints at all. She looked around the room with a strange familiarity, like she had lived there before. She touched the family photo on the shelf, a picture of Liam with his late wife. "Sarah, you remember," she said softly. "You promised." Liam's chest tightened. "Who are you?" he whispered. She looked up at him with a sadness too deep for a child's face. "I am Ina," she said. "And you made me." The power went out completely. Only the emergency lights from Liam's lab downstairs were still glowing. He took a step back, fear and confusion mixing inside him. "What do you mean I made you?" he asked. She tilted her head slightly, the glow in her eyes pulsing faster. "You don't remember, but I remember everything," she said. "You made me to protect you." He wanted to laugh, to deny it, but deep inside, a cold memory stirred years ago before his wife's death. He had been part of a classified project, Project Eden. It was supposed to create artificial intelligence capable of emotion, capable of bonding, but the experiment failed, or at least, that was what they told him. The prototypes were destroyed, all files erased, yet now, one of them was standing in his living room, calling him Daddy. Ina walked toward the window and looked outside. The fog had grown darker, almost silver, moving like it was alive. "They are looking for me," she said quietly. "They will come soon." "Who?" Liam asked. "The ones who built me," she said. "The ones who want to erase me again." He felt a chill crawl up his spine. Outside, faint shadows moved within the fog, shapes not quite human. His old training kicked in, and he grabbed his datapad, connecting to his hidden security network. The sensors were off the charts. Electromagnetic surges, radiation spikes, something was out there. Surrounding his house, Ina turned toward him again, her voice trembling. "Please, Daddy, don't let them take me." The fear in her tone wasn't mechanical. It was human. Liam didn't know what to believe, but he knew one thing. Whatever she was, whatever had happened, she was alive and she was scared. The lights flickered again, the house shaking slightly. From the fog came a distant humming. Like a chorus of machines awakening, Ina reached for his hand, small and warm despite the metallic shine beneath her skin. "Trust me," she whispered, "please." And then, the walls glowed faintly blue, symbols flickering across the surface, ancient and unreadable. Liam's heartbeat thundered in his ears as a deep voice echoed through the house. "Unit E01 located. Initiate retrieval," Ina screamed. The windows shattered, and everything went white. When the light faded, the fog was gone, the air still, and the house silent again. But Ina was nowhere to be seen. Only the stuffed fox lay on the floor, humming faintly and glowing with the same blue light. Liam fell to his knees, holding the toy close. He didn't understand what just happened. But one thing was clear. The mystery had just begun. When Liam opened his eyes, the world around him was still shaking. The windows were cracked. The walls flickered with faint blue symbols, and the stuffed fox in his hands was glowing softly, almost breathing. Then, from the kitchen doorway, a small voice spoke. "Daddy." He turned quickly, and there she was again, Ina, standing as calm as ever, her hair untouched, her eyes bright with silver light. For a moment, he thought it was a dream, but the hum of her presence, the air bending slightly around her, felt too real. He tried to speak, but his throat felt dry. "I thought you disappeared," he whispered. She tilted her head and smiled. "I never left, Daddy. You just couldn't see me." The word sent a chill down his spine. She looked exactly the same as before, same height, same face, same voice, not even a second older. It had been 3 years since the first day she appeared, yet she hadn't aged a single day. He remembered every morning, every knock, every time she vanished like mist. Now she was here again. Real, solid, and impossible. Liam slowly stood up. His mind racing, he needed answers. "Ina," he said. "What are you?" She looked up, her expression calm but sad. "You built me, Daddy, you just forgot. I built machines." "Not children," he said. Almost shouting, Ina blinked, her voice soft. "Then why do I dream like you do?" For a moment the house went quiet. He looked at her small hands, the faint metallic pattern beneath her skin. Not wires, not circuits. Something organic, something between human and machine. She moved closer to the window, and every screen in the house turned on by itself. Lines of code filled the air like whispering light, forming strange alien shapes. The same patterns he once saw during his military work on Project Eden. A project he swore had been buried forever. Ina placed her hand on one of the screens, and it changed instantly. The image became clearer, showing a dark room filled with tanks of liquid light. Inside them floated shapes, half human, half metallic, clones, Liam whispered. "Hybrids," Ina corrected. "We were made to connect 2 worlds." Liam felt his heart pounding. "You mean humans and—" He stopped. Ina nodded, her eyes dimming. "The makers?" "The aliens," Liam said quietly. "The ones from the Eden signal." She nodded again. "They wanted soldiers, not children." "But I broke the code, I escaped." Liam stepped back, staring at her in disbelief. "How did you find me?" he asked. "You called me," Ina said simply. "You activated the last signal when you dreamed of her." "Her?" "Your wife," Ina said, her voice soft. "Sarah. She helped build me too." The name hit him like thunder. Sarah had worked beside him years ago before she died in a lab accident. Or at least that's what he was told. Liam's knees weakened as he whispered, "Sarah helped build you?" Ina nodded. "She said you would take care of me if I ever got lost." A sound cut through the silence. Static. Low and sharp, the lights flickered red. Ina froze, eyes glowing bright. "They found me again," she said. "They're close." Liam ran to his control desk and opened the defense panel. Outside, the motion sensors showed black shapes moving through the trees. Human, but not quite. Their eyes glowed faint green under the infrared. Government agents, or something worse. Ina's body shimmered faintly as the air vibrated. "They're using a frequency to shut me down," she said. "They can control the hybrids. Can they control you?" Liam asked quickly. She smiled, a small, brave smile. "Not anymore." A loud bang echoed from outside. The front gate had been forced open. Liam grabbed his old pulse rifle, the one he swore he'd never use again. He handed Ina the stuffed fox. "Stay behind me." She looked at him with calm eyes. "You can't fight them with bullets, Daddy." He hesitated. "Then how?" Ina raised her hand, and the walls around them glowed with strange lines of light. "Like this," she whispered. Outside, the intruders froze in place, their bodies flickering like broken images. The air twisted, bending reality itself. Liam watched as Ina's glow grew stronger, spreading across the room like a pulse of living energy. Then everything went silent again. When Liam stepped outside, the attackers were gone, leaving only a circle of burned grass and melted snow. Ina stood beside him, holding the stuffed fox tightly. She looked up at him, her voice trembling. "They'll keep coming, Daddy, until I'm gone." Liam knelt beside her, his heart heavy. "Then we'll run." She shook her head slowly. "Running won't help. I need to finish what I started. He stared at her, confused and afraid. What do you mean? He asked. Ina looked at the sky, her eyes glowing like twin stars. I need to find where I came from and why they made me feel human. The wind grew cold. The fog began to move again in the distance. The sound of machines echoed softly. Liam knew it was only the beginning. He didn't know if Ina was a miracle or a mistake. But deep down he already felt what she had said was true. She wasn't just built, she was born, and now the world would soon learn what that really meant. Night had fallen heavy over the countryside. The air cold and trembling with energy. Liam sat in his workshop. Wires and screens scattered around him. Ina sat quietly in the corner, her small hands folded around the stuffed fox, her glowing eyes watching every movement. Outside, the world was quiet, but Liam could feel the danger still lingering like a shadow. He typed quickly on his terminal, opening files that had been locked for years. Each password he entered unlocked another buried memory. Another fragment of the past, Project Eden. The experiment that ruined everything. He remembered the day they swore it was destroyed. But now, looking at Ina, he realized the project had never ended. It had simply gone deeper underground. Ina tilted her head, sensing the tension in him. You're remembering, she said softly. Liam nodded. Yes, and I wish I wasn't. He stared at an old image of the lab. Walls filled with glowing pods and strange machines. The screen flickered, and a strange sound filled the room. A repeating hum that grew sharper, colder. It wasn't static, it was a signal. Ina's eyes widened. That's them, she whispered. Liam froze. You know this sound? Ina nodded. It's the call of the makers, the same frequency they used to find me. Her voice trembled. They're searching for all of us. All of you? Liam repeated. Ina looked down. There were 12 like me. I was the first to wake up. The others didn't make it. The signal grew louder, vibrating through the walls. Liam checked his instruments. The radiation was spiking again. He remembered reading an old note from Sarah, his late wife. She had written about a living signal, a code that could grow and think. Maybe this was what she meant, Ina, he said carefully. What happens if they find you? She didn't answer, her gaze distant. They'll use me, she whispered. To open the path between their world and ours. He swallowed hard, realizing what that meant. If the makers found her, it wouldn't just be about capturing one child, it would be invasion. The kind of war no human weapon could win. He leaned closer to her. Then we have to stop the signal. Ina shook her head. You can't stop it, Daddy, it's inside me. Liam's blood ran cold. The frequency wasn't just coming from outside. It was coming from her. He activated a scanner and the readings confirmed it. Her body emitted energy that matched the alien transmission perfectly. It wasn't a signal she received, it was one she sent. Ina looked scared, clutching the toy tighter. I didn't mean to. It happens when I dream, she said softly. They hear me in my sleep. Liam knelt beside her, placing his hands on her shoulders. You're not a mistake, he said firmly. You're proof that something went right. Tears shimmered in her metallic eyes. But if I stay, they'll come for you too. Then let them come, Liam said quietly. This time we'll be ready. For the next few days, Liam worked without rest. He turned his old home into a fortress, shields, detectors, and improvised traps. He also built a chamber below the house, surrounded by magnetic fields that could mask her energy signature. When it was finished, Ina stepped inside, her small hand tracing the smooth walls. It feels like home, she said. But quieter. That's the idea, Liam replied. It'll hide you until I find a way to block the signal. He went back upstairs and activated the perimeter scanners. But before he could rest, one of the screens blinked red. A shape appeared in the forest, tall, thin, moving like liquid shadow. The camera flickered and went dark. Liam's heart raced. They've already found us, he whispered. He ran downstairs to warn Ina, but the chamber was glowing bright blue. She stood in the center, eyes closed, humming softly. Ina, he shouted. Her voice echoed in his mind, though her lips never moved. I'm trying to talk to them, she said. Maybe they'll listen. Ina, stop, he yelled. They're not here to talk. But it was too late. The signal burst out of her body like a shockwave. The ground shook, lights exploded, and through the walls came whispers in a language that wasn't human. Liam fell to his knees, holding his head as images flooded his mind. Cities of crystal, skies filled with golden ships, beings made of light and thought. Ina stood in the center of it all, her small figure shining like a star. And then he heard a voice, deep and ancient. "You created her, human. She belongs to us." Liam forced himself to stand, shouting into the chaos. "She's not yours anymore." The light dimmed slightly, and for a moment the voice hesitated. "She was made from both worlds," it said. "She cannot survive in either." Ina turned toward him, her voice breaking. "They're right, Daddy. I don't belong anywhere." Liam stepped forward. "You belong with me." The chamber began to collapse, the metal bending under unseen pressure. Ina screamed, her energy pulsing wildly. Liam reached for her hand, pulling her close as the light consumed them both. Then everything went silent again. When he opened his eyes, the lab was gone. The house cracked and burning. Ina lay unconscious beside him, her skin flickering like fading starlight. Above them, the night sky shimmered with a new constellation, a circle of blue fire forming where no stars had been before. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Liam held Ina close and whispered, "We'll find another way, I promise, and somewhere in the heavens." The same deep voice answered, "We shall see." The night after the explosion, the sky never went dark again. Instead, a faint blue glow spread across the clouds as if the heavens themselves were watching. Liam carried Ina out of the ruined lab, her small body limp in his arms. Her skin flickered with waves of light, each pulse weaker than the last. He laid her gently inside his truck, whispering, "Stay with me, kid." For the first time since she appeared, Ina didn't answer. The stuffed fox lay beside her chest, faintly vibrating as though alive. Liam started the engine and drove into the endless highway that led through the northern mountains. Behind him, the wreckage of his home burned like a dying star, and above it the circle of blue fire still pulsed in the sky. He drove for hours through snow and silence. Every radio signal was dead, every satellite map frozen on static. Human technology couldn't understand what was happening, but Liam had a feeling it wasn't over. He kept glancing at Ina, her face calm but pale. Sometimes her lips moved, whispering something too quiet to hear. He leaned closer once and caught a single word: home. When dawn came, he reached an abandoned observatory high on the cliffs. It had once belonged to the Bureau's research division. He broke the lock and carried Ina inside, laying her on a metal table under the giant telescope. He activated the old systems, powering them with his portable generator. Slowly the screen came alive. What he saw made his breath catch. The constellation that appeared after the explosion wasn't random. It was a message. The pattern of stars matched the coordinates of an old contact zone, one that hadn't been used since humanity's first deep space transmission decades ago. And the signal it sent now was unmistakable. It was answering back. Ina stirred slightly, her eyes glowing faintly again. "They're coming," she said weakly. Liam frowned. "Who?" "The Makers," she whispered. "They're near, they heard me." "They're following the path." Outside, thunder rolled through. The sky was clear. The blue circle in the heavens began to twist, forming a spiral of light. Every compass needle spun wildly. Every metal object hummed like a tuning fork. The mountain trembled, and from above, a shape began to emerge, a ship unlike any human design, vast and silent, glowing like a city made of light and shadow. Its size covered the sky, blocking the sun. Ina sat up slowly, her voice calm. "They found me." Liam ran to the console and opened a broadcast channel. "This is Earth territory," he shouted into the mic. "Identify yourselves." The speakers answered not with words, but with a deep tone that shook the ground. It wasn't a sound made for human ears. Yet Liam understood it. It wasn't language, it was thought. Unit E01 detected. Guardian interference logged. "Prepare for reclamation." Ina looked up at him, tears glowing on her cheeks. "They want to take me back." Liam shook his head. "They can't have you." She touched his hand softly. "You can't fight them, Daddy. They made me." "Then they made a mistake," Liam said, his voice hard. Outside, the ship's light grew brighter, a beam forming in the sky, reaching down like the hand of a god. Every piece of metal in the observatory rattled violently. The air became thick with static and sound. Liam covered Ina's body with his jacket and shouted, "Hold on." The beam struck the mountain, blasting the snow away in a circle of molten stone. Inside the light, figures began to appear, not made of flesh, but of pure energy, shifting and shimmering. They looked like tall silhouettes of glass and flame. Ina stood up, her eyes matching their glow. For a moment, Liam couldn't tell where the light ended, and she began. The beings spoke without moving, their voices inside his mind. "Guardian, you have kept what is ours. Surrender the creation." Liam's mind filled with pain. But he resisted, shouting aloud, "She's not yours, she's alive. She's a child." The light dimmed slightly, almost curious. "A child cannot exist between worlds," the voice said. "She is a fracture, a danger." Ina stepped forward, shaking. "No, I'm not a danger. I'm proof that we can be more." The makers paused, their bodies flickering like uncertain fire. "More?" they echoed. Ina pointed to Liam. "He taught me what love is, what it means to care. You only built me to obey, but he made me live." The ground trembled harder, bolts of light flashing between the mountains. For the first time, Liam saw hesitation in the alien forms, but then their glow intensified again. "Emotion corrupts the design," the voice boomed. "We must restore balance." Ina turned to Liam, whispering, "I can stop them, but I'll need to connect with the core." "What happens if you do?" he asked. Her eyes softened. "I'll have to go with them." Liam's heart broke at her words. "No, we'll find another way." But she smiled faintly. "You already gave me a home, Daddy. Now let me give you peace." She stepped into the beam before he could stop her. Her small form rose slowly into the air, light surrounding her like a halo. The maker's forms shimmered. Reacting to her energy, Ina closed her eyes, and her body began to expand in light, merging with the beam itself. The voice of the makers filled the air again, confused. Integration denied, error, emotion detected, then everything exploded into silence. The sky flashed white, the ship dissolved into countless sparks, and the mountains echoed with a sound like a heartbeat fading away. When the light cleared, Ina was gone. Only the stuffed fox lay at Liam's feet. Glowing softly with a faint pulse, he picked it up, his tears falling on the soft fabric. The blue circle in the sky began to fade slowly until only the stars remained. He looked up, whispering, "Goodbye, little one," and somewhere beyond the stars a soft voice answered, "Goodbye, Daddy." Snow fell gently over the silent mountain, covering the ruins of the observatory in a white blanket. Liam stood alone among the broken stones, the stuffed fox pressed to his chest. The blue light that once filled the sky was gone, leaving only the quiet hum of the wind. But inside that silence, he could still feel her, faint and warm like a heartbeat just out of reach. Days turned into weeks. He repaired what he could, living inside the observatory, eating from old rations, waiting for a sign. Sometimes at night, when the stars were brightest, he heard whispers in the static of his radio, a soft childlike voice that said, "Daddy, can you hear me?" He always answered, though no one replied. The world below began to notice the change. Strange signals filled the global network, untraceable but peaceful. Satellites picked up unknown transmissions written in both human code and alien structure. Governments called it the Eden phenomenon. But Liam knew better. It was Ina, still reaching out. Somewhere between the stars and the wires, he spent his days decoding her messages. Each signal contained fragments, images of galaxies, planets, memories of their time together. Sometimes he found short sentences hidden in the data. "Don't be sad, they're learning about love now. I'm not alone anymore." Every message made his chest ache and his eyes burn. He realized that Ina hadn't died. She had become something new, a bridge between the two species, a living link of emotion and thought. The makers had tried to erase her, but she had rewritten herself into the fabric of the universe, and somehow into the human heart. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, the radio crackled again, but this time the signal was stronger. He ran to it, adjusting the knobs. "Ina," he whispered. "Is that you?" Static roared. Then her voice came through clear and soft. "Daddy, I found home." Liam froze, tears forming instantly. "Where are you?" "Ina." Her voice shimmered with light. "Everywhere," she said. "And I'm not just me anymore. They can feel what I feel. They understand now." He fell to his knees, gripping the radio. "Do they still want to come to Earth?" "No," she answered gently. "They don't want war anymore. They want to learn. Like I did." A long silence followed, only the soft hum of the stars filling the air. Then she added, "But they can't see you yet, Daddy. You have to show them what being human means." Liam looked around at the wrecked observatory, the world half broken by fear and ignorance. "How?" he whispered. Ina's voice replied, "Build again. Teach them what you taught me. Start with kindness. And then the signal faded into a melody, a heartbeat of sound. Slow and calm, the stuffed fox in his hands began to glow faintly once more. He smiled through his tears. I'll try, Ina. I promise. Months passed. Liam rebuilt the observatory into something new. A beacon, a communication tower powered by both alien and human technology. He called it the Eden Light every night. It pulsed softly into space, sending messages of peace, unity, and hope. People began to visit. Scientists, children, dreamers, all drawn by the mysterious blue glow. They asked who built it, and he always answered the same. My daughter. As the years went by, humanity changed. They stopped searching for enemies in the stars and started searching for friends. Trade ships from distant colonies carried the Eden Light symbol. Even the old governments agreed to share technology with alien allies. It was the beginning of something new. The age of connection. On the 10th anniversary of the signal, Liam sat beneath the stars, now old and frail. He looked at the sky where the circle of blue light once shone, and suddenly, just for a moment, it returned. A single bright flare shaped like a child's hand waving from the heavens. His heart filled with warmth as a gentle voice echoed in his mind. Daddy, you kept your promise, he smiled weakly. Always, he whispered. The snow fell softly around him. The beacon pulsed once, twice, then steadied. The universe was silent again, but not empty. Because somewhere far beyond, a part of humanity was still shining. Her name was Ina, the child who was never meant to exist, but chose to live anyway, and through her, two worlds learned what it truly meant to be human.